Hi, goes and family. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys having a great evening. Sorry for going live this late. Definitely was having some technical difficulties and whatnot, but the show, as they say, the show must go on. Before I get started, remember Larry's Anything Goes is basically we sell products via various drop shipping sources with various platforms, and we are with the gold standard partners where you have the opportunity to not only buy cryptocurrency, but you have the opportunity to do referral marketing with it all at the same time, get another cryptocurrency card and be able to go from there and make money move so you don't live bro like a fool. But anyways, I digress. Today going to be talking about not as popular as the topic as it used to be, but I will be talking about this whole Democrat versus Republican fiasco thing that we always seem to find ourselves in. But before I go further, kudos to it's nice that Juneteenth is a national holiday. I know other states have made it a local holiday and things of that nature. So the fact that now that it's a federal holiday, and hey, look at the upside. Now you got a holiday in May, you got a holiday in June, you got a holiday in July. So it's a beautiful thing. But moral of the story is at the end of the day is that if you're not familiar with Juneteenth is basically after the Emancipation Proclamation, when the African slaves were actually freed from slavery, in theory, they actually freed the state of Texas and its beautiful wisdom actually did not tell the slaves that they were free until a year later and whatnot, until actually a ship came to the shores. I believe it was Galveston, Texas. Because if you've ever been to Galveston, Texas, very beautiful beach, very beautiful area, real laid back and mellow. And it shows the history of Juneteenth and, the slaves that were actually freed by a Union ship, in regards to because the basically I remember the state of Texas where they kept the people slaves because they wanted to ensure that they weren't free until the next crop came in and whatnot. So they wanted to make sure that they were keep their standards at ease, and keep the production going at the end of the day. Because one thing, and I'm talking about this today. And you know me, if you've been watching me for a while, I don't care what party you vote for, or if you don't vote at all. It's your business. We're all adults here. I don't argue over things that don't make me money or have anything to do with life-threatening situations. That's not my style. But anyways, I digress. But I remember one back in 2005-6 time frame. This great guy. I'm not going to mention his name. I remember he said to me, remember at the end of the day, he's a retired Army guy, real nice guy, straight to the point kind of guy. And I liked him. He was actually from Los Angeles, California. Um, and he said, remember at the end of the day, no matter who's in office, the business of America is business. He's like, and I got to see that working. And this is what he told me. And I was in my earlier 20s back then. He's like, I got to see this with my own two eyes, being stationed all over the world, being stationed all over the United States of America. I got to see this with private industry. I got to see this with local and state governments because of his role that he played, because he was in the United States Army for about 23 years. And I always would thank him for his service and thank you to the vets for your service. But yeah, he was in the Army for about 23 years, and because of he was an attaché in various capacities. And an attaché is basically a person they're kind of like a diplomat in a sense, where they're working with various amounts of people, keeping relationships with people, work in public affairs, things of that nature. So he would do a lot of work with, like, great example, he was stationed in Joint Base Lewis. I believe at the time it was Fort Lewis in Washington State. And basically he would work in conjunction with a lot of events with the state and the local governments and whatnot with the base to ensure that things were taken care of when certain things happened. He never went into detail. But anyways, he said working in that capacity in the military, he had the opportunity to see, no matter who, he was in the Army during the Reagan years, during the Clinton years, during the Bush years, Bush Senior and whatnot. And he got out, I believe it was when Bush Jr. Went in office and whatnot. But he said the moral of the story is, this whole Democrat Republican thing, he's like, at the end of the day, They have a job to do. They have to ensure that they preserve the union as best as possible. Work their best with states and local governments, because they want to make sure that the not only America remains a safe and vibrant place, which is a beautiful thing, but America actually remains a place where the productivity is up and the economy is up, because regardless of who's in office, everybody wants a strong, robust economy. And I say this because at the end of the day, with the pandemic, the best thing about the pandemic, because we always talk about the worst part of it, I like to try to talk about the best parts of it, because I like to keep positive aspect about anything in life, because the worst thing in life is when you lose your life, unfortunately. So, and I know that's one of the biggest downfalls of the pandemic. A lot of people lost their lives. A lot of people went through a lot of hardship. So, but it exposed the whole, when you had a great example. You had Donald Trump in office, and the Republicans basically had control, but they did their darndest to ensure that the economy did not fall at the end of the day. They worked hard. They passed bills. They worked with both parties, and they ensured that people got stimulus checks. They made sure businesses got access to stimulus, whether big or small. The whole the eviction ban was put into place, and it actually created opportunity for certain people to be on a come up, and certain people to only unfortunately fall to the wayside. But it showed that hey, we have to. They said it themselves as a party. We have to ensure that we preserve the union. The same thing has happened within the last 6 months now. President Joe Biden has been passing packages to ensure that they preserve the union and try to get the economy going again. We see that the economy is opening up again, and a lot of states never really closed. They only closed for like a month or 2 days, like Georgia. I think Texas was closed a little bit longer than Georgia, and I think Georgia was like the number one state compared to all states. And in certain states that nobody cares about, like North Dakota. And I mean, I shouldn't say that, but I'm going to say that. But yeah, places that not big tourist destinations or whatnot, was places that actually just never shut down. But there were more rural communities, which is nothing wrong with that. And there are actually more places where people they're more spread out from each other and whatnot. But anyways, I digress. The moral of the story is, of why I'm going live about this, is because now it's basically the country is fully open. I mean, even New York is opened. And maybe some people will go back, maybe some people won't. Like I said, any place has to offer an incentive for people to want to live there anymore. And when you live in a place in a beautiful country like America, where you do have options, you're going to go where your money takes you further, and you're going to go where your quality of life is higher. That's just what it is. But at the end of the day, the point of my story that I'm really getting at is that last year we saw who was in power from a federal government perspective, and they did the darndest to preserve the union. So we didn't crumble as a country. This year, you see who's in power, doing their best to preserve the union. We have not crumbled as a country. And that's all. At the end of the day, that's all that matters, because the business of America is business. The business of any country is business, because if you're not doing business, then you're going to be broke as a joke. And that's just telling the God's honest truth. If we're going to be on some real stuff, you know what I mean? You have to be able to preserve your society and whatnot. And jobs are starting to pop up. People who have the right skill sets are still getting employed. People who are living in the right areas are starting, get employed. Get new employment and whatnot. And they're getting and people are getting access to capital. Even more so, packages are still being passed. I mean, like, even homeowners are getting relief. I mean, Congress has a mortgage relief program, offers a generous reduction to qualify homeowners if they owe less than $356,000 on their home. Because, millions of homeowners are in a position where they could miss an opportunity to save on their mortgage through Congress mortgage relief program. So don't be that person that's actually missed out. You have all these programs. You had the forbearance, and that was under Republican rule. You got this mortgage relief program that's under Democratic rule. You know what I mean? But all this is to say now, as I talked about it with Mike Macklin and Michael Alexander, this is not just because they want people to feel good about themselves. This is because they want people to be able to have the opportunity that not only have relief, but to be able to have access to capital so that people can actually spend more money and whatnot, doing more things. Because if you have more money, the whole purpose of, the economy, for it to function, people have to have money, one, and then two, people got to spend the money. So, I mean, heck, I'm as cheap as they come. I hold on to a dollar as much as possible. But when I do go all out to have fun and to do something, I go all in. It's that one of those, I go hard. I don't go hard or go home. You know what I mean? It's like when I do business, you can't be a total cheapskate when you're doing business. When it comes to your health, you can't be a total cheapskate. When you go on vacation, I'm not a fan of being a total cheapskate, because I'm a cheapskate when it comes to living expenses and things of that nature, certain things that are a necessity. However, when it comes to vacation, I go all in, because I that's the time I want to turn my thinking cap off and just be able to have fun and enjoy life, But everyone's different, and I get that, and I respect it at the end of the day. But the moral of the story is that regardless of who's in office and what state you live in, they have to preserve the economy at the same time, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. The forbearance happened because they had wanted to preserve the economy. Nobody wants to, they didn't want the forbearance mortgage relief thing that nobody wanted to see a bunch of foreclosures like we saw in 2008-7 time frame. Nobody wanted to see that. Okay, so that's why these things happen. The rental, good old actual eviction ban. Nobody wanted to see thousands of homeless people on the street. We've already have a lot of major cities is already a homeless spot. Nobody wants to see that from a Democratic or Republican perspective. Okay. And another thing, and this is really the point I want to hit in on, before I call it a night, because like I said, I'm not going to be on too late, but excuse me a second. But I got to get this off my chest. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I've said it in various different ways, but I'm going to say it like this, family. Whether people want to agree or not with this, what I'm about to say, it's just the God's honest truth. Every family is like Congress in a sense. Now, people probably like, what do you mean every family is like Congress? Okay, well, Congress is two parties. Congress is people that have agreements and disagreements, but however, they are people that are actually they get along, even though they disagree with each other, but they get along, and they actually try to be respectful and professional towards another, because if you don't do that, then you basically will have dysfunction and chaos and disorder. I remember back in 2000, might have been 2006-7 time frame. I remember in Russia, their version of Congress and whatnot, it was like an all-out brawl. Now I don't know how often that actually happens, but I remember that was actually posted all over the national news. It was an actual brawl, because you saw that hate for each other. So you don't really see that in state houses, and you don't really see that on city councils or county governments. You don't see that in Congress and whatnot. As far as Congress people lashing out at each other, ready to fight each other, beat each other up, shoot each other, and all that crazy stuff. Nobody's doing that, and most families, they don't do that. And why I say that families are like Democrats and Republicans, because people come from all different backgrounds. And even if your last name is Johnson, the Johnsons come from all different backgrounds and whatnot. The Johnsons live in different areas. The Johnsons believe in different things, but they all have the same last name, and they have pride in who they are, where they should have pride in who they are and where they come from and whatnot. And when they get together at a family reunion, a wedding, unfortunately a funeral, a barbecue and whatnot, they should be able to parlay, have a conversation and whatnot, and they can agree to disagree on things without having to insult each other. And even if there is some, back and forth and whatnot, it doesn't need to be to the point where, it's like, okay, well, I'm not speaking to you anymore because you think this way or you believe this way, all that nonsense, right? Because if you've ever gone to Washington, D.C., just hang out around the Capitol, and you'll see that the Democrats and Republicans actually hang out with each other. I've seen it with my own two eyes. Okay. They hang out with each other. They discuss each other. A lot of times they even play golf with each other. They go to their kids' weddings and all that, because that just shows mutual respect. Hey, we might disagree on certain things, but we have mutual respect. There's a lot of people that I'm the best of friends with. We don't agree on everything, and that's fine. I got family members. We don't agree on everything, and that's fine. But does that necessarily mean, well, I can't necessarily talk to you anymore because you believe this? That's like some gang nonsense. Like, oh, I'm a blood, so I can't talk to you because you're a Crip. That's stupid, man. Especially adults. It's bad enough when kids do this nonsense. When I see adults doing this, well, I can't talk to them because they're this. I can't do this because of that. It's just ridiculous. It's like, is there mutual respect? If there's no respect, then obviously there's no point of talking to one another. But is there actual mutual respect for one another where you actually just respect one's opinion and respect one's intelligence and just able to go from there? That's what it really boils down at the end of the day. And that's what I wanted to just keep it, because at the end of the thing, the pandemic was a blessing and a curse, but one of the biggest blessings, it showed that, hey, these guys and gals have to get it together, because they know if they don't, that the union would go kaput. It'll be all she wrote. Well, no matter what side of the political spectrum these people are, they want to be able to preserve the union. They want to be able to pass laws. They want to be able to make their own money moves at the end of the day, and all that good stuff. And that's how a family should be. Hey, we might not agree on everything, but we can agree that we want the best for the family. So let's figure out ways that we can implement everything that we want, and do it in a reasonable manner. You know what I mean? Or let somebody get their way. It's like crazy concept, compromise. Let this person get their way this time. I get my way this time. Everything's negotiations and tractions and things of that nature. How one can actually preserve the relationship from a friend's level to a significant other level to any specific level. How can one preserve themselves in order for them to be successful? And like, you're successful this time, but I'll be successful next time. And remember that I did you this favor, and I remember you did me a favor. And it's reach one, teach one, and it's just looking out for each other, and it's not trying to show off and think that you're big and bad and better than other people and whatnot. Because to me, that's just some high school popularity crap. You know what I mean? That gets old very, very soon. Very, very quickly, in my personal opinion. So that's at the end of the day, that's just my two cents in regards to the whole Democrats versus Republican nonsense. Let them do that, and let the Fox News, the CNNs, and the MSNBCs, let them entertain you. That's cool. But at the end of the day, you can be cool with anybody you want to. You can build relationships with anybody you want to, as long as there's some mutual respect at the end of the day. Because always remember, you can learn so much from somebody that you disagree with, that comes from a different background, whatever have you. I've learned from Democrats. I've learned from Republicans. I've learned from people who are from various parts of the world and whatnot. I've learned from people who are from various parts of the United States of America. Everybody has a special gift and talent to offer to this great world that we live in, no matter where you reside at. And I think we need to get past this high school stuff to where it's easy to put a label on somebody, because then you think that's how you should deal with a certain individual, but you just never know, because people can surprise you in various different ways and various different fashions, and they could take you to a place that you never thought you would go, let you see the world in a different view. There's an old saying that a former colleague of mine used to say: you could go around the world 1,000 times, but never leave your front doorstep. And I think it's unfortunate that it is very true for a lot of people. And just because you have one specific background doesn't mean you have to look at the world through one specific lens or two specific lenses. There's various amounts of lenses that one could look at the world, and every day we can learn something new. And we can learn something new from each other. So let's cut the nonsense with the Dems versus Republicans. I put this statement on Facebook the other day. I said I don't debate over Dems and Republicans. I debate check-ins and savings. So stop misbehaving. And that's what I'm about. I'll have a long in-depth discussion about how money can be made and how it can be invested, but I'm not going to have a long in-depth discussion about politics. That's not going to happen. You do what you do on that level. Doesn't affect me at the end of the day either way. So on that note, do the great 3 free things, family. Like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the online store. Thank you for the Cash App donations, and thank you for the PayPal donations. It's always greatly appreciated. And as I always say, make money moves, you live broke like a fool. Saturday, I'm going to go live talking about what Juneteenth means to me and how one should celebrate Juneteenth. And then I'm going to go live talking about how, Tanzania is actually trying to get into the cryptocurrency space, and how El Salvador actually got into the cryptocurrency space. Even I heard the World Bank rejected their request. So, I'm going to talk about that and get my perspective and, go from there. But it's interesting times that we're living in now. And you just got to say, are you going to be a doer or are you just going to be a watcher? You're going to be on your cell phone doing this. That's the easy part. The real work is what you do on a regular basis. And tomorrow, trust me, it's going to be a big money move for me tomorrow. So, and I'll get into that later on my other channel. So don't forget to subscribe to Larry's Anything Goes LLC, Patterson Up Properties LLC, and you know where you'll see me, those two places. All right. But enjoy your life, family. Enjoy your loved ones, whether you guys get along or not. Come on, man. I mean, whether you guys disagree on stuff or not, there's no time for hate in this world anymore. It's just not worth it on any level. My mindset is, as long as somebody's showing you respect, show them respect back. If they're not, then you just go the other way. Life's too short, family. All right. So appreciate every single moment you're alive. Do your best to get by. It's the summertime. Go out and enjoy yourself. I don't care if you just go for a walk. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. I can't say that enough. Do what you got to do. Take the vacation. Take the class, make the video, whatever have you. Enjoy your life. All right. Love who you're going to love. Do what you're going to do. Enjoy your life. I'm out.